It's time to follow the money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, Sirius XM Channel 204.
Thanks for checking in. We're live in Las Vegas. South Point Sportsbook coming up in this hour, 15 minutes from right now. Timmy Fitz, South Point Sportsbook Supervisor, is going to join the program. I want to find out if they got killed on the Miami Jets game under yesterday, before the game with the field conditions. We'll ask him about that.
Yeah, a little buyback late. I thought, because I saw as low as 41.
Open 45.
Yeah.
It got down to 41. There you go. So it was a very bloody weekend for books everywhere. This is from David Purdum's column that came out in the wee hours today. Third straight subpar weekend for the books, but Sunday was in a class by itself. An all-timer in some veteran bookmakers' eyes. Jay Rude, 25-year Las Vegas bookmaker, said it made his top 10 list of all-time costly Sundays. One sportsbook manager at Caesar said it was one of the worst Sundays he could ever remember. Quote from Jason McCormick, Station Casinos, I don't know that there was a best game for the book. Maybe the Dolphins, which had the least handle for the day. Worst Sunday of the season. So this goes on and on and on and on. And then Tony Miller, when the afternoon games were completed yesterday, tweeted out, no standing A count, no TKO. That was an old-fashioned KO. The public just handed the sportsbooks today. I'm going to the concussion protocol.
How about that? Mm-hmm. About time it happened. At William Hill, 87% of the money on the Vikings, 88% on the Chiefs, 72% on the Panthers. Those are all bad results, no doubt. I thought it'd be a lot worse with the Patriots getting there, too. But only at William Hill, it was 60% on the Patriots.
Well, I think Timmy was saying this. It didn't matter which direction the game went last night because everything was tied into, it was such a heavily bet game on both sides.
Okay.
Patriots and the Packers, so they were going to get mauled regardless. And on those pleaser cards that we talk about every single week so it's the reverse teaser, right? They've been coming in 5 or 6 at a time over the last month or so. 8 or 9 games came in on the pleaser card yesterday with big blowouts. 8 or 9 of them. And the payouts are 3 for 3 is 25 to 1, 4 for 4 is 75 to 1. That is incredible. I think that's the pleaser card pays 2,000 to 1 if you hit 7 for 7.
Oh, God.
And it's been popping now for more than a month.
Yeah, got to get on that. I got to put in the flyer. Take 4 or 5 of those, right? Because they pay so high.
Yeah, and again, David...
Good job pointing that out. That keeps coming in. You got to pick the right games. But
of course, right. But Purdum estimates that between $7 and $10 million lost by sportsbooks in Nevada yesterday.
Jesus. Strange, right?
Do it again this week, then.
I thought it was going to be bad a couple weeks ago, and then Fitz came in and said, it was okay, because one of the games went our way, but they couldn't get any decision to go their way in the early games. So the late games were fantastic. We mentioned Friday and Thursday. We were looking forward to that, and they delivered. I don't know who was worse.
God, they were so good.
Vance Joseph or Orgeron. More on that coming up.
Vance Joseph.
Uh-huh.
A good friend of ours, Mike Pritchard, tweeted this out last night. The video of this right before halftime, after Vance Joseph iced the kicker, and then he sent McManus out for a 62-yard attempt.
Yeah.
You can read his lips. Bill O'Brien's going to the sidelines. And I'll say this. I've never said this on the air, but I'll say it right now.
Oh, it's the going into halftime. It's over.
Going into halftime,
okay.
You can read his lips. He goes, good job, Vance, you dumb fuck.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So when the opposing coach is saying that, and pardon my French, but I think the full quote gives you the extreme meaning behind that whole thing. That's exactly what he said.
He denied that, and he denied saying that about Keenum, too.
Well, he said it because you can go read his lips yourself.
You saw, yeah?
So he's calling another coach in the NFL that.
Yeah, Joseph just came out and said I was too aggressive there before halftime. Yeah, you think 62 yards, still got time? Mm-hmm. The pretty important play how that worked out. Actually, I don't know what I was thinking. I got to bet your picks on Friday, and I got to bet Personal Gourmet in a contest. The kid's 3-1. Guy's hitting 80% going into this in the Super Contest. He went 3-1. He's got the Titans tonight. His loser was the Packers. Lunacy.
32-8 going into.
What are you now? What are you now on Fridays? 22-1 or something? What are you?
I think
with John here. John was out. You went 0-2 or something. So John, we need John in the building. What are you? 22-1 on Fridays?
I'll try and go back and grade it today if I think about it.
What am I doing?
Was it 3-0-1 on Friday? 3-0-1 on Friday. I think I've had one loss on Fridays in pocket in the last 2 months.
Oh, my God. Astonishing. Staggering. Good for you. And Personal Gourmet. 80% in a contest.
Well,
5 picks a week, NFL in the Super Contest. How do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
The other guy's right. That's the other thing. The other guy's right behind him. He had to split the money. At 80%, he had to split the $15,000 with the guy.
I had a buddy of mine that wanted to get into the Super Contest a couple years ago, and I said, "You know how many people get into it now?" He said, "No, how many?" He thought it was a couple hundred. I said, "It's actually more than a couple thousand." And I said, do you realize that you're going to have to, just to be in the money, what percentage you're going to have to hit? And he guessed, well, if you hit like 60%, you're going to win. I'm like, he was out of the loop.
Place. Yeah.
He was out of the loop. I told him the co-leaders were 32-8 yesterday going in, and he said, "Wait, that's just straight up, right?" And I said, "Dummy, no, that's ATS." And he said, 32-8 ATS, that can't be. I said, "Oh, it is."
Oh, it be.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the NFL action from yesterday. Pauly, it's all about the running backs for me. And this is a great week for that position. Kareem Hunt, 91 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, a 50-yard TD reception. Tevin Coleman, where'd that come from? Especially against Washington's solid defense. He had 88 on 13 carries and 5 catches for 68 yards and 2 more scores. Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 catches, 78 yards. How about James Conner? 24 carries, 107, 7 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. Who's Le'Veon Bell? Melvin Gordon, 113 on the ground, including that beautiful 34-yard touchdown run. And last but not least, Alvin Kamara, one of the truly best weapons in football. 82 on the ground, 2 scores, 4 catches, 34 yards, another score. That was great in their win. And nice to see Julio Jones finally get into the end zone. And how could you not love the reaction by his teammates? They knew what that was. They knew what that meant. So very good job by the Falcons in that game and by Julio finally scoring.
All right, I'm not in love with O'Brien, but finding a way to win, to start 0-3 and then win 6 in a row. 4th team in NFL history to do that. And they got some help from Joseph, but a great win. And I love the trade getting Thomas as well. The Chargers, nasty defense. Bosa coming back at some point, harassed Wilson all game. They got the pick 6. And then, they gave up that touchdown late, but geez, they converted on 3 4th downs, and then the officials. I'm sick of what goes on in Seattle. I mean, they get every call. It's ridiculous. It's the shenanigans that happen in that stadium.
Yeah, for years
Roughing the passer, BS call. Roughing the passer. The PI on the final play, should have been the final play of the game. The guy played it beautifully. Horrible job, but they somehow survive and get the win. No part to Sturgis as well, who can't make an extra point. But winning streak continues. Watch out for that team in January. I know I'd say, no, who the loss? They lost to Kansas City. What's the other loss? Early on in the season was another good team that got them. I mean, they're legit. And I know we've seen this movie before, but I would not want to play them in January.
Why am I blanking on that?
John will get it. Ugly Vance Joseph. Let me go through this. Tries a 62-yard field goal with still enough time left before halftime. Of course, McManus misses, which gives the Texans time, 20 yards on a couple plays, and then they missed the field goal, but he iced the kicker beforehand, so he hits the do-over as well. There's the O'Brien line going to halftime. And then he settles for a 51-yard field goal instead of trying to get closer, and McManus misses it as well. Horrible job by Joseph. Horrible. I don't know who was worse, him or Eddie Orgeron, for what he did in the first half of that Alabama game. The Bills, the 92 Seahawks, going to give them a run for their money. There's 92 Seahawks average 8 points per game. The Bills are hitting a 10, and they get the late touchdown, you're right, to make it look good. But this is, how about this tweet we got from a listener that Peterman, with 180 yards and 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating actually went up? I don't know how that's possible. Tells you how bad the guy is. But a guy who covers the Bills for 29 years, beat writer, said it's the worst Buffalo team he's covered. And they went 3-13 in 2001.
Well, who's the worst team in football? Is it Buffalo with Peterman? Are they worse than the Cardinals and the Raiders?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Peterman, yes.
Yeah, with Peterman, I'd say so.
Yeah. Lions and Stafford. I don't know what that pitch was. That was high school garbage. Touchdown for the Vikings. Sacked 10 times, and they get the Bears. Good luck if Mac plays on Sunday. And again, Rams defense and Peters. I know Lombardi was terrific, but just throwing at the guy at will, burnt toast. And they've got to fix that. Wade Phillips, come on, you're too good. Fix that, man. It's every week you're getting lit up.
Yeah, that's the other team to beat the Chargers this year, the Rams.
There was. Okay, thank you.
35-23.
Yeah, on the road.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My bad. I brought this up a couple of times today. McVay not going to Gurley after the fumble recovery, past 3 straight times. He gets caught up in that from time to time. I don't get it. But also the bad by the referees in the spot, and then they go to replay.
Come on.
That was so obviously a first down.
Yeah. How do you not overturn that?
Yep.
Jeez.
In the same game. Great job by Michael Thomas with the ode to Joe Horn, right? The cell phone celebration. And I was not listening to the game, but I heard, because I had it on Red Zone, and Scott Hansen made it a point to say this on the air. Aikman and Buck had no idea.
No, and then people on Twitter were saying, he pulls the T.O. The T.O. had the Sharpie. Joe Horn had the phone.
How do people not remember that?
I don't know.
Scott Hansen on Red Zone said, guys, can you mention, please, to 2003, the Joe Horn cell phone celebration?
Did you hear the backstory on that? He's like, went to go see Saul Goodman. Got a couple flip phones late at night because he had one in each end zone.
Oh, of course he did, yeah.
What? Guy getting a flip phone here.
Mm-hmm.
Went to some store.
Detroit, like you talked about. Stats Padford for 10 sacks, 209 yards of offense. That was amazing.
That was bad.
How about Tampa Bay's defense again? They were trailing 35-7 in the first half. And by the way, nice fake punt call, you bozos.
Oh, that was
to
bad
give the
by
Panthers
Carr.
yet another touchdown right away.
How far were they backed up, too? They're like their own 20 they tried that.
I think the punter was standing inside his own 20.
That was bad.
To do that fake punt. Another over for that team. They're 7-1. They're so bad. Yeah. The field conditions in Miami actually look better than it appeared early in the morning or the night before, because Miami and Duke played in that downpour. And then they had to come back in a few hours later and play in an NFL game. But I hope people were betting the under either pre or during with the in-play. That was not going to go over. And Nathan Peterman, again, 3 more INTs. The Bears defense had 2 touchdowns. But it's just incredible to me, again, with the Buffalo Bills. I get it. They drafted Josh Allen. But you're going to go to war with him. You get rid of McCarron. And Nathan Peterman's going to be the backup. No excuse for that. The guy should not be in the league. He's one of the worst of all time.
I feel E.J. Manuel's pain. He's like, I can't get a job, and this guy's coming out here throwing 3-4 picks every start, and he keeps getting opportunities. I can't get work. I feel his pain. He goes, it wasn't a great run for me in Buffalo, but I never did stuff like this.
Yeah. And I will say this. The guy probably should be in the league for how he plays as a quarterback, but can we stop actually suggesting that Colin Kaepernick should be with a team? Like, that story's done. He's never going to play in the NFL ever again. Right? So whenever there's a bad quarterback spot in the NFL, it's like, why is Kaepernick not there? He's not getting back in the league.
Well, it just shows how absurd it is that he's blackballed, though.
Yeah, no, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
But are we still going to be doing this in 2020? I hope not. Follow the money on Sirius XM 204, Fubo TV. Tim Fitzgerald, South Point Supervisor, joins the program up next. We'll get a full weekend recap from him. How bad was it here at the South Point? And I got to find out if people really made a lot of bets on that Jets-Dolphins under game with the field conditions. We'll ask him about it coming up next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Listen, I'm going to give you the lock of the year, and Brent, you might want to write this down. This is a compliment coming to your Roll Tide. Bet Alabama first half every week, and you'll make money. 8-0 first half, first the number. That's it. I'm done.
It's
by the way.
Unbelievable.
It is.
You know, I got to tell you who started betting that early was Matt Humans.
They haven't played a team with a pulse.
They're the best team now.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
You know,
but I heard a few people saying
from the old-time guys like me, I shake my head, and they're running to the counter laying 27.5 in the first half like it's chocolate. It's just I just shake my head, but you know what? After we pay them off, they're looking at me like, you donkey, you don't know what the hell you're doing either. And they're right.
A straight bet for $100,000, a 3-teamer for $180,000. And he lost a $20,000 4-teamer live to the Chargers, so we had 3 in going to that. So I guess he won $260 for the week.
So that's back-to-back weekends.
How would you like to make $260 in a 48-hour period bet? That would be nice.
Yeah, no kidding. I ran the numbers. The guy's up over $2 million in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I give him credit because he has the onions to bet.
Guessing lines for Week 9 in the National Football League. Again, a tribute to the old Stardust Guessing Line show. Trying to isolate value. Not sure we found any yet.
Well, there's something to think about in each one of them, right? You can make a case to take or lay these games that you've talked about already.
Nothing.
And that's the exercise, right? You know, you're making numbers as a seasoned veteran.
Yep.
Comparing them to what's posted.
That's what we're doing
for your early consideration.
Many more games to go.
if you're going to make that pitching change, knowing what's going to happen, you know, if you bring in Woody, he's obviously going to offset with the right. We know what's going to happen, so you knew the matchup that you were going to get. Were the numbers overwhelming enough to say I need this matchup? Because, you know, when you dig down, Baez, lefties hit 164 against him this season. He's dominant versus lefties, and he looked really good. My other thing is in that moment is if I do bring somebody else out of the bullpen right now, is he going to be as locked in as sharp as Baez is right now? That's my other thing. I understand what Devers has done. I remember the home run in Houston just like they do. I just felt like Baez was throwing that good to where I didn't need to make a move.
Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
Live in Vegas, good to have you on board. Tim Fitzgerald now joins us, supervisor here at the South Point, as always on a Monday. How are you?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we made it.
Hanging in.
You know, the lights are still on, so still open for
Still
business.
open today.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I was telling producer John that I'm not going to use the words bloodbath and destroyed. I mean, it was a bad day, but I've seen plenty worse.
Okay, plenty.
Yeah, plenty.
So
worse.
not in the top 10
for us. No, I wouldn't. No.
No.
I tell people we have maybe 2 weekends a year in the NFL like this. This is the first one. You know, last week we lost, but this is the first real. You know, we got dinged up a little bit, but not.
Did you have what was the best decision of the day for you? Did you have a good one?
Maybe the Saints. I mean. But we still lost. When I say best decision, it was probably the one that we kind of needed a little bit. We needed Denver. That would have helped a little bit. But by then, the damage was won. There was no way out.
Anything early? Did you win the Dolphins game?
The Dolphins game was the game that just got lost in the shuffle. Out of the 7 early games, 6 of them were decisions. The Dolphins game was just like kind of whatever.
What about the under in that game? Because they were making such a big deal out of the field conditions going in, but you never really saw like a lot.
No,
of money
I mean
in?
it was nothing to really nothing much of note. So, you know, anybody who saw the game, the college game on the field, oh my goodness, and then you read the comments before. And then you come out and the first say field looks good.
Yeah,
fine. Yeah. So no, that was small, not even on the radar.
If you had rain then, if you had weather then.
Then it gets chewed up and then it becomes a mess. But they did a good job with the field, but still couldn't score.
No. Pick 6, the only touchdown.
Yeah.
That was ugly. That's right. How was the Steeler-Raven game? He took Steelers money, but that was. Did you see any Raven support there? I mean, it's hard. The way the Ravens were playing and the fact that the Steelers, are they really going to get swept by Baltimore? Did you see any Ravens money at all?
There's a little bit, but there's just a huge push late with the Steeler money, and that was one of the games. So in the 6 games, in the early games, what did we need? We needed. Where's my notes here? Misplaced them. We needed all the. Here we go. So we needed we needed any one of these games to go again, to knock one of them out. Because parlays was what did us in. Not so much teasers, which I've spoken about previous weeks. It was more so the parlays that we needed Chicago. We needed Buffalo. We needed the Ravens. We needed.
Did you need the Browns big, or did you get a lot of sharp money on Cleveland again this weekend?
No, well, it was all parlay money. So we needed the Browns. We need one of them. Just need one. We need the Lions. We needed the Bucks, and no, couldn't get one of those results. So after the early games, you pull up the late games, and you're buried. I told you. I said, just need one. Couldn't get it.
And that's what saved you in the past couple of weeks.
Always, yeah. If we can knock out one of those decisions early, especially if we can get a team on the money line, then it's it's limited. And then if we get the second one, forget it. It's a great day. But no, we're like 0 for 6 early.
Okay, so what about the late games then in the afternoon, and the way that it actually came down to the point spread? If he makes the field goal in Denver, right, and he doesn't instead, they lose by 2 instead of winning by 1.
Right.
And then also, if the Seahawks can actually get into the end zone and maybe force overtime, who the hell knows what happens at that point?
Exactly. So in the late games, like I said, we talked about the Saints. We needed Denver. Denver by 1 wasn't great, but it was better than Houston money line. Couldn't get that. And you could just say it's just one of those days where it's like, all right, we need this field goal. Ain't going to get it. We need Seattle score. Ain't going to get it. So we knew going into Sunday night that, we're already, a big number was already against us. And that number was going to double if New England got there. And they did.
It did, yeah. What about if it hit the over last night?
A little bit more, but not much.
Not much?
Not much.
What was the worst result yesterday out of one game? Was it Chiefs against the Browns? Was it Bears against the Bills?
Now, if you want to say the worst result in one game, are we talking if we took that game as a standalone, or because you could say the worst result money-wise was the Patriots because you had everything rolling in.
Tied into, okay.
But
standalone then.
Standalone. We did probably maybe.
You have anything on Buffalo? Did anyone get to the window on Buffalo?
No, I mean the Houston game was not good. We actually took a fair amount of money on them, but the early games maybe the Steelers because we took a lot of Steeler money late.
I'll ask you one.
Yeah.
I mean, what if every week you get the quote? I don't know. I wouldn't call it that.
Sharp money
on the Browns.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you don't have that?
Oh, I know, right?
That's bailing you guys out. They never cover.
Yeah, you wonder about some places that quote unquote don't take sharp money. You know, maybe they're having these horrible days. Some days, like yesterday, the sharp money kind of, it's a good thing we have it.
Yeah.
Kind of lessens the blow a little bit.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
I know.
so it's
what are these guys doing?
Two-way street.
I mean, that's the definition of insanity, right?
Right.
It's been 3 years of this. At least they got a decent outfit. They're competitive, right?
Just pounding this drum every week.
But not only were they only win one game in 2 years under Hugh, they were 4-12 ATS both years. I mean, I don't understand what these guys are doing.
There's value. There's value in the line. At a certain time, you have to say, "Well, I'm not doing this anymore." There's better options out there.
Like human emotion, right? Your brain comes into effect. You actually need to think about what you're watching with this team. It's not, I get it, the Sharps are not going to bet teams, they're going to bet numbers. But at some point when your numbers say bet the Browns, so you have to look back and say, well, again, really?
Right. How many times do you have to get kicked in the head to realize, well, I don't want to do this anymore?
And there's another one, too, that we always hear about. NFL total, high 50s, low 60s. Come on, can't make it that high.
Yeah, these guys go away, too.
Well, but to counterpoint on that is that, we got to 60 on the Ram game, and it's just nothing but under. So I see your point, and I agree with it, is that it's a different game now, and we have to adjust. But if we put up 63, well, what's the difference if we put up 60? It's still getting plenty of that under money.
Sure, no, but I understand
the mindset hasn't changed. It's like, oh my God, 60, under. But I kind of agree with you, is that 60 isn't the 60 from 5-10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
These guys got to stop that. And they'll do the same thing Monday night in a couple of weeks. I mean, you saw the Kansas City New England game. Oh, it's too high. Can't have a total this high. Auto play on the under.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, well, you're getting your head handed to you. How'd the in-play go? As you're running that too and watching all these games?
In-play, we got dinged up a little bit. It's the same thing. They just Chiefs, they get out ahead and just keep going and going and going. It's just overall, just couldn't knock one out. So the in-play was, the same thing, and just pound the under in the Lions game. You see teams that just can't
that
score.
was a good one.
Bills, just go against the Bills, It doesn't take much. I mean, right away in that Chicago game.
Oh, sure, yeah.
No way. No way.
You said a good text.
Number.
I didn't look at that. Sorry to cut you off, but that was a good prop bet. Would there be a defensive or special teams touchdown?
Well,
the yes should have been favored. You knew they were going to get one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was kind of going against your other play in the New England Green Bay game.
Yeah, because you got Rodgers and Brady.
And how many interceptions are they going to have?
You're not going to see punts. You're not going to see turnovers, or you're not going to see interceptions, right?
And then you had just the opposite point in the Buffalo-Chicago game. You had two quarterbacks that prone to turn the ball over. And what did we get 2 in that game?
Yeah.
2 by the Bears, yeah. What about last night with the in-play? Tied at 17 apiece. Do you know people still firing on the Patriots?
I think we got good two-way. Yeah, usually when you get a close game, you get a good two-way action. It's when you get one team that kind of jumps ahead. It's kind of tough to get that team that's trailing. People think the game's over. So
right.
When you get back and forth, that's always good because then you could just chop them up with the juice.
Who's impressed you?
NFL.
Yeah. You watch all these games.
Chargers.
Sure. Nasty defense, right?
Yeah. Chargers. Panthers still get zero respect.
Uh-huh.
And they're right there.
You buying the Saints?
Yeah.
Home field, yes.
Yeah.
I want to see how that travels because remember, last week they were dominated by the Vikings, but the Vikings gave them the game.
I'm still a little questionable on teams where the defense is, if you're giving up 35, 40 points. I know the game's different, but is that going to travel really well if you have to go on the road? But Saints might not have to go on the road.
Well, who would be your number one power-rated team in the NFL? Still the Rams? Chiefs? Pats?
That's tough because even though the Saints won that game, I think Rams could have won that game just as easy. And it was on the road. And the Patriots are still doing their thing. And the Chiefs look just... I mean, I think you take those 4 teams, and you can take any one of the 4, and you can make an argument, 1 through 4. You can jumble them all up. I think they're all pretty close.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the Patriots. Their defense looked awesome last night.
Yeah.
They were getting in Rodgers' face.
They got pressure.
Night.
I couldn't believe it. They put pressure on them.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. Tim Fitzgerald, our guest, Fubo TV, Follow the Money, Pauly and Mitch. All right, college now. Before you run it down, Notre Dame falling 10.
Sided, not too bad, but it was a loser. But yeah, it wasn't absolutely, it was a loser.
All right, point spread hijinks in the Iowa game. I think that opened 3, closed 1.5. Purdue wins by 2. Was that maybe just not a lot of action on that?
Yeah, it didn't hurt us. It was a winner. It didn't hurt us.
Okay. And Bama. Well, for observation number 1. Thank God we at least have Clemson showing up.
Oh, yeah.
Because this would be, you could hand them the title here.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
At least Clemson could keep it close.
Yeah.
How do you make a case for somebody? Now, 29-0 on the road against a top 3 team. Jesus.
Like I said, take a nap and wake me up first week of January. And
yeah.
Pencil Bama and Clemson and see what we got. Yeah. I mean, it's really, you're trying to, we're at this point now where we're trying to find teams that can just give them a game. Never mind win a game, just give them a game. Mm-hmm. And I think Clemson is probably the outfit that can do that. Especially, the history and coaches kind of know each other tendencies. But it's still, I think we're reaching a little bit.
Okay, so that team is now 9-0 ATS in the first half. Did you guys get taken to the cleaners on Saturday?
A little bit.
They covered.
Yeah, like I said, I told you that if it went over, it would have been a little bit worse. But we actually had a little bit of LSU money on the first half, a little buyback. But it was still, for a first half, yeah, it was a losing decision.
Do you know how high the number got here? Was it 9, 9.5?
9. I want to say 9, yeah, off the top of my head. I believe it was 9.
How about in play on that game? Because you knew early, I don't think LSU was going to score.
Under
too
dream.
Much. Yeah.
Just under. It was laying right there. I think Bama got up to, it was one point, I think when they were up 22-0, they were laying 22.5 because you had zero confidence in LSU and you guys broke it down.
Kicks a field goal, 22-0.
I was laughing.
Well, how about that? How about deferring when they won the coin toss? Right?
You go right down the list.
The hurry-up offense against Alabama? Yeah. What are you trying to do?
Why wouldn't you snap the ball? Let the play clock go down to 2, 1.
Right.
Snap. Yeah. After a while, you burn 5-6 minutes, and you just shorten the game. Bad job. I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Instead of 29-0, it would have been 17-0.
Pulp Fiction, when Ving's talking to Bruce Willis, that's pride messing with you. Pride. Slow it down. Grind the clock. Your best defensive player's out for the first half. What are you doing? Yeah. Slow it down. Stay in the game. You're underdog here for a reason.
Did you notice that's what Green Bay tried to do last night?
Right.
With the hurry up from the Patriots, they're going 100 miles an hour. They score right away, and Green Bay's like, even when Green Bay was down 31-17, they had zero sense of urgency, which was horrible in my opinion. But they were taking the entire play clock last night. They didn't want to get into that kind of fast tempo with New England on the field.
Sometimes you have to alter your strength. Well, alter what you do against the opponent you're playing. You can't just say, "Oh, we're going to run with them," and then because you got to pull back a little bit.
Let's follow the money on Sirius. Follow the money, Sirius XM 204 and Fubo TV. We'll continue with Timmy Fitz coming up next. I want to ask what the get-out game on Saturday night was like, because Utah State has been one of the best teams in the entire country covering. Did people bet it like crazy? We'll talk to Tim about it coming up next.
It's been between 2 and 3 minutes. You know what that means. It must be time for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on Sirius XM 204.
We continue with Timmy Fitz, Tim Fitzgerald, South Point Sportsbook Supervisor here on Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204. So the get-out game on Saturday night, Hawaii hosting Utah State. The game, unfortunately, is difficult to get on that network that they have, so the handle wouldn't be as high if it was on ESPN, right? But Utah State has been basically the best or second-best team covering spreads the entire year. Did people pound them?
They did, but by that time, it was a reverse of Sunday. Saturday, we knocked them out pretty good. So it wasn't
again.
Yeah, I mean these Saturdays, and it's a good thing because Pretty much whatever we got. Well, this weekend, whatever we got on Saturday, we gave back and then some. But
I said that earlier. That's been the case around town. The bettors are getting killed on Saturday and winning on Sunday.
So many games just to grind everybody down. All we need is a few upsets. But in the typical sense of the get-out game, it wasn't really, it was a fairly small decision. Not having it on TV, you know how I feel about that. Yeah. The late Hawaii.
To your point, I mean, I'm convinced if that game's like on ESPN every week. And the amount of sponsors you could put on now with legal sports betting, right? The handle would be outstanding.
Oh, yeah, of course. And it's 9 o'clock start, late, midnight on the East Coast. I don't even know if you can get it with those huge satellite dishes. Remember those big dishes that people would have in their backyard? Mm-hmm. I don't even know if you can get it on that. You got to shoot a signal to Hawaii or Oceanic Network. One day, maybe. One day.
One day, maybe.
Yeah.
One day. How about in play with college? We mentioned the Alabama game, but we had some crazy totals. That Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
That had everything.
Yeah, like I was telling you, is that first time this year we had 2 college games in play total go over 100. And it takes a lot to really get that going. So it was on Tuesday night, the MAC game. The MAC game was 42-42 going into the fourth.
Yeah.
In-game total went over 100. And then the Texas Tech-Oklahoma game also in-game went over 100. And I was laughing because it breaks the screen. It doesn't even show up on the screen. It's like the column can't handle 3 digits.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought, where's this total? And I figured it's got to be around 100. So you got a kind of little tweak in there. Yeah.
I think I saw one spot had it like 102.5 at one point.
I think we went 100.5 on one game, or maybe on both games. But it's almost like a perfect storm. You need.
Almost got there, by the way.
Yeah.
51-46. What do you make of some of these numbers that we're seeing at some other spots? Bama 8.5 against Clemson. Bama would be 20 offshore. Bama 20.5 against Notre Dame.
Oh. There's only one team that can play at this point, right? I think the only team that can play is Clemson. And even then, would you feel comfortable taking 8?
People rip the NBA. All right.
I think I'd have to take Clemson plus 8.5.
Bama and Clemson for a long run. I know.
Yeah.
This isn't going to change either.
I want to see Michigan's defense play against Alabama, but the Michigan offense, I mean, come on, give me a break.
Oh, that's good talk about.
Yeah. So how about the handle on college compared to the NFL? Which was better?
Saturday beat Sunday by, call it 10%. Last week was Sunday. Sunday outdid Saturday, but this weekend, Saturday beat up Sunday a little bit.
Heaviest bet game had to have been Bama and LSU.
Correct.
And where would that fall when you compare it to NFL games?
That would have fallen on one of the 1 o'clock games, in line with that.
Okay.
Handle wise, yeah.
It's very good though. Still.
It's good. It was great 2-way. I mean, people had an opinion on both sides.
All right, let's do win some, lose some here.
Yeah. Run it down. The Rats.
Oh, my bad.
Oh yeah. Okay. So a quick rundown for college. So we took 4 decent-sized wagers, 4 different games. We went 4-0, so that really helped the bottom line. Good wins for the book. SMU, UL Monroe, both money line, both outright. We have some players that like to come in and play these money lines and round robin, and they're all over the board. So they're probably on about maybe 12 different games, and they pretty much have to hit 11 out of 12. But it adds up. So we knocked them out. That was good for us as well. Losses, Clemson. This seems like a week-to-week thing now. People just blind. Loser on Clemson, but we didn't see our friend. He didn't come in on us on Clemson. Michigan State was a loser. Did you see the punt stats in that game, in the Michigan State game?
I didn't see much of that. I saw there was no one at the game.
It was crazy wind, and I believe the punter, when he had the wind, he blasted one for like 60 yards. Then he had 4 punts, 24-19. He had an 8-yard punt in that game. They still won 24-3. We lost. Sided in the Northwestern Notre Dame game. Florida Atlantic. We got dinged up pretty good on a small game like that.
Wow.
Iowa State was no good. Michigan was no good as well. Silent Assassin, I alluded to them earlier. SMU. SMU was a big decision. And the Rat game. Let's define the Rat game. Here we go. You ready? Usually a favorite, anywhere from 7 to 14 in that area.
Okay.
Home, takes no money, and they lose the game in a pretty good fashion. South Florida was the Rat
there you
this
go.
week.
Yep.
What was that?
Paul Stone was all over Tulane last week too.
Yeah.
Ugly. Couldn't figure that one out. No show. Just like Florida.
That game was over with early.
Yes, it was.
Tulane killed them in that contest.
All right, Fitz, feel free to jump in. Let's do it.
Rough night?
Can't call it a bad beat. Definitely lose some.
Good night? How does it make you feel?
I absolutely hate them. I absolutely hate them.
Follow the Money looks back so we can learn for today.
Everything's an adventure.
And win some, lose some. Let the education commence.
All right, Fitz, I'm starting with bad beats. How about the get-out game? Utah State, Hawaii over. 70, but up to 73. Now, it fell 73. There were no points scored in the second and the fourth quarter. What the hell is that?
Right.
That's crazy.
That hurts.
A scoreless, 2 quarters, you don't score any points.
That's hard to do in any college game. Never mind to fall around the total.
Yeah, still goes over if you bet it early. Got a good number.
Right.
That's crazy. Georgia, Kentucky under, which was also bad for the books, bet up from 44 to 47. 34 points in the second half. Come on.
Absurd.
34-17 final.
Yeah,
How about this to start the day? A&M and under. Up 10 with 8 minutes. You go 0 for 2. Goes over. 2 late touchdowns by Auburn.
Did you guys get a lot of sharp money on Kentucky, by the way?
A little bit.
A little bit on that?
Yeah, but public game like that, public team, Georgia, offset that.
Yeah, men against boys.
Yeah.
Ran all over them.
Well, Kentucky's number 9, Number
Oh,
9
sure.
in the country.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, the committee.
Florida. Yeah.
Excellent job.
Garbage.
Sure. How about this one? Louisiana Tech, Miss State over. 48.5. 45-3 final. I can't get anything on a lot Tech, who actually moved the ball against LSU earlier in the season on the road. 14-0 second half.
Yeah, 31-3 in the first half. You thought,
What was that? Yeah, 31-3 at halftime. 45-3 final.
That's what these SEC teams do when they get that big lead. They just 7-0, 10-0 second half, 6-3.
How was the Air Force Army game?
Great.
Yeah, Air Force 7.5 down to 5.5, and the under 45 down to 41.5. 17-14 Army. Good game.
Mm-hmm.
Tough.
Get it over quick too.
That's right.
Come
Tulane.
on, move it along.
As you mentioned, Tulane 7.5 down to 6. Routed South Florida 41-15. App State, Coastal Carolina under 57 down to 52.5. 23-7. San Jose State, Wyoming under 41 down to 38. Heavy wind. 24-9. Cal from 11 down to 7.5 and under 54 to 51. 19-13 Wash State. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Prime time on ESPN.
Go back to that real quick. Go
Sure.
back to that Wyoming game. Took a decent sized bet on Wyoming, but he laid 17 when he could have laid. I think that opened 13.5 early in the week.
Oh, I missed that one. Good.
And it's always a journey to get to Laramie. It's
Sure.
plane ride, a bus ride, train ride.
It's not easy.
Hike.
Yep.
Yeah.
NC State 7 up to 9.5. Routed Florida State. Northwestern under 53 down to 50. Fell 51. Iowa State 14.5 up to 18. Won 27-3. Baylor from 8 down to 6. Won outright. Good game. Beat Oklahoma State. How about Michigan, Tim? 10 up to 13. And the under 52 to 49.5. Routed Penn State 42-7. It got out of control in the third quarter.
Yeah, rightfully so. Revenge tour.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you guys you got killed on that game?
Not killed. It was a loser. It was one of the few losers on Saturday. But yeah, and you knew right away. Same thing. They were just full speed ahead.
South Carolina, Ole Miss over 65 to 69. 48-44. Shootout.
Yikes.
Georgia Southern, Monroe over 55 up to 60. 45-25. That was Southern. Horrible.
Yeah, that was a great result for us. A lot of Southern money line parlays.
Is that right?
Yeah. You would think like they'd come in on these public heavy favorite parlay teams. No, they Toledo. These teams that real mid-level, bottom of the rung. Yeah, so we knocked out quite a bit with that.
Michigan State 2 up to 3.5 and under 46, 40 down to 43.5, 24-3 on the road. West Virginia +2 went off 1. They won by 1. Holgerson goes for the win. They get it.
Went for it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Them.
I don't know how you let a guy get behind you in that situation if you're Texas either.
Did you hear did you hear the Gus Johnson call on that? Oh,
No.
I mean, it's Gus Johnson, but he went totally bananas on it. It was great. Screaming.
How'd that game go, by the way, for you to land at West Virginia 1?
It didn't affect us either way. So, them making it or not making it was okay.
Okay.
Lions Vikings under 50.5 down to 47. In play dream. You knew the Lions weren't going to do anything. 24-9 final. Jets Dolphins under 45 down to 42. 13-6. Texans +2.5 down to 1. 1 by 2. Bucks Panthers over 54 up to 55.5. Steelers +3 down to 1.5. Beat the Ravens outright on the road. Packers lose some. Packers 6.5 down to 5. Lost by 14. Tied in the fourth quarter. Big fumble there as they were driving. Rams +2. Went off a 2-point favorite. Lost by 10. You see this? There was a guy who kept betting 6 figures on the Rams all week at MGM.
Yeah, I heard
it just kept, okay, move the line, bet it again. Move the line, bet it again. Move the line, bet it again. Syracuse Wake over 75 up to 78.5. It died. 41-24 final. Nebraska Ohio State over 72 up to 75.5. 36-31. Oklahoma from 10 up to 14. Lucky they won the game. San Diego State from 10 up to 12.5. Duffel Bag Boy was on them. They didn't get there. They won.
Yeah, they got
won by 8
scores there to make it.
Yeah, they were losing late in that game.
They got some 17 in the fourth, I believe.
USC, Oregon State over 59 up to 65, 38-21. Liberty +3 went off the favorite. Lost 62-59.
I was rooting for Oregon State just to see if we can get a firing on the tarmac there. But we couldn't get it. So maybe next week.
That's win-lose.
How was the handle on the Fresno State UNLV game? Anything at all to write home about? Because Fresno has been so good ATS, and UNLV is just straight trash.
Yeah. Handle-wise, it was a loser, but the handle is not anything substantially out of what it would normally be. But fade UNLV.
That was a weird schedule. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But we had, 6, 7 late games?
Oh,
I'm talking like 7:30 or later.
Yeah.
7:15 or later.
Anytime you can just look at the rotation, usually when the rotation number gets up to like 420 something, then you're just loaded up with games. And this is the time of year where college starts to really cram in those games. So it's good. More games, the better.
Are you ready for college basketball?
No.
You guys can't be. I'm not ready. Who's ready?
This is like a week
Starts
early.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
it is a week early.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I haven't even looked at what we have going on.
I don't think numbers are up here. I only actually think for the two big games tomorrow night, Michigan State, Kansas, and Duke, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think it's only up at Caesar's Palace, one spot.
We'll probably have it up today. I'm sure we'll
at some
have it
point.
up today. Yeah.
Will you get any handle on that?
Yeah.
Like a lot?
It's not like January, but we'll get midweek. It's Tuesday.
8 o'clock game tomorrow. BYU and Nevada.
Wonderful.
On TV, they'll bet that.
Yeah.
You? Yeah, pack a lunch.
That's it.
They'll be late here on the in-play crew. You don't do much on the UFC. You're not a UFC house. No need to mention that. One thing, though, on the NBA, as we pointed out here, all these totals seem to get there with these moves, but also just the totals in general, as we referenced the Mike Breen comment from Friday during the Wizards game. 32 times already a team has had a 40-point quarter. It happened 134 times all of last season.
Yeah, it's when you have a team, Golden State, that scored 92. Was it 92 in the first half?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you look up, it's constant, 47, 34 after one. It's just what happened. But the moves have been getting there over, so we're going to have to kind of, price a premium now if you want to play over.
And we're a Laker town.
Yeah.
That must have been a good result, right? No Kawhi?
Yeah.
Raptors -3 went off the dog. Up 31 in the first quarter.
I know.
41-10.
It's like you never know what you're going to get with this league. I mean, I remember you guys talking on Friday about the Wizards and OKC, and OKC goes in there and just runs them out. So it's a fun league. It's finally now where it's competitive. Especially you have some teams, you have Golden State, but then you have everybody else, and it's good. It's good action.
How about handle on the Knights in the NHL? Decent.
Okay,
Yeah.
and nothing like last year.
Yeah.
No.
Scuffling.
Huh?
They're scuffling.
Yeah. Well, they'll be okay.
Tough division. Brian Blessing called it. Good division. Got everyone under there with their points total. That's a tough.
Got a nice win the other night. What, 3-0 against Carolina?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's still the same. They're getting all these chances, but they can't put the puck in the back of the net. So we'll see.
Good job. Are you working overtime? You sticking around?
Yeah, I'm gonna be with Gil.
All right.
We'll do a little work on the lines next week. We'll talk about them, kick it around, and see where we're at.
By the way, those pleaser cards that we bring up every week.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple got through this week.
Did they?
I haven't seen them, but I knew we had.
Got through.
Yeah.
Do you know how many teams or how much?
I don't know offhand, but I know there was a couple IRS ones, or they were alive going into last night. I'm not sure if they got
Is that
them.
IRS thing.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, I mean,
over 301. So
I think at least 8, maybe not. I'll have the official count tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah.
At least 8 or 9 came in on the reverse.
Well, to get dinged up on those, that's what has to happen.
Right.
You have to have 8 or 9 actual decisions on the card, and then the players can kind of navigate 4 or 5 on
Somehow they knock out 4 or 5 right away. It's going to be an unbelievable day for them then.
Right.
Jesus. But again, it's like every week where we're getting 5, 6, 7, now 8, maybe more teams to come in.
Right, and to go opposite of that point is that normally the teaser, like a week like Sunday, teasers would bang us up. But one little point is that the schedule did us a favor where we had public teams that would get played in teasers played each other. So the Saints, the Rams, Packers, Patriots.
Okay.
They played each other. So that kind of didn't really give the players a lot of teaser options.
That makes sense. Did you see the schedule for this next week, by the way? We have some real duds in the NFL. I mean, Saints-Bengals is by far the best game I think we have. Atlanta, Cleveland, New England, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Indy, Arizona, KC, Buffalo, and the Jets.
You don't want to tune into Buffalo and the Jets, Mitch?
Wow.
Chargers, Raiders, Dolphins, Packers. It's all garbage. The Monday night game, Giants, Niners. Come on, man.
If it was 1990, we'd be great. But, no, it's going to be tough to take.
All right, pal. Good to see you again. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, we'll get to In Pocket up next. Talk to Gil as well here on VSiN.
And we're back with more Follow the Money on Sirius XM 204. Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard have the mics for the information you need to win.
All right, In Pocket here. I have nothing as of right now for tonight. Hard pass. Pauly, what are you looking at?
All right, we're still in action here. Titans to finish off the tees, plus 13.5 against the Cowboys. And also the tragic. I'll take the Magic, even though it's a back-to-back, as we ran through that article early on from The Athletic. Oh, my God, the Cavs. J.R. Smith wants out. Corver wanted a trade if LeBron left. They reneged on that. They're going back on a handshake deal. The young guys don't get along with the old guys. The old guys don't respect them. They also said sex doesn't know how to play basketball. And J.R. Smith also said, we don't listen to the coach because of his contract situation, because he even doesn't consider himself the coach because of the contract deal, and they won't give him a raise even though they fired Lou. I mean, that's a fascinating article. Just run through the dumpster fire. And they're 1-8 and been outscored by 16 points per game.
Wait, so what's your point on that? I'm missing. That's unbelievable.
Things are going well for the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
You imagine it? What a dick move, huh? Hey, if LeBron leaves, trade me, buy me out. Oh, sure, you got it.
And then they say no.
No, we're trying to win. We're winning now was the line.
Oh my God! It's like the Raiders, right? If we can only find a pass rusher.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then he announces Bruce Irvin as the captain before the season starts. Now you're cut. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Like the extent to which the Raiders, sorry, not to switch the subject, I'm sorry. The extent to which they've taken that, like just the purge, what are they doing? What's the end game here on this? Like, oh, we're going to accumulate as many draft picks. Here's the thing about accumulating draft picks. You actually have to have player personnel people who know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, this whole thing is a sham. There's absolutely no guarantee you're going to pick the right players. None. Unless Bobby Beathard is your GM or somebody of that ilk, and he's not.
With their history?
Yeah.
I mean, go back and look at their first-round picks alone from 2001 to last year. They've had one good pick, and it was Khalil Mack.
That is so bad. I mean, I, like many, called it with Gruden being a disaster, but I don't know that I had any idea this was going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Way to get the Las Vegas fan base riled up, by the way, in 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right, with this product that's going to be coming to town.
Nightmare for the league.
You thought the Golden Knights were a tough act to follow as is. Now it's, I don't know that Derek Carr makes it to Vegas. I don't know that any of these guys.
I know. Yeah. How were your picks over the weekend?
I had my second spectacularly great weekend where I didn't miss anything in college, anything in pro. Sadly, it's been interspersed with middling to poor weekends, right? So in the wash, it doesn't really make a huge dent. But NFL, it's a tease fest. It's a tease fest. And again, I said this with Tankapalooza. If you are betting NFL games ATS, you're the square, not me. You just are. Like, why are you putting yourself through this? The teasers have been so great. They continue to be great. And then any of these games, even like games like where the Chargers dominate the Seahawks and Caleb Sturgis torpedoes them, and you still have to sweat that game if you're ATS, right? You're like, oh my God, we could actually still lose this.
Sure, yeah.
90% of my bets are in play.
I do at least. I would say I do at least 50% in play. I wouldn't say 90%.
That's me.
Yes.
I just that's how I am.
I was saying the Raiders-Niners the other night was the perfect in-play scenario. There was a game like to bet that game pre-flop. Who do you know who's showing up? You don't know who's showing up. Why not wait, watch a drive, and then it was a tour de force.
Yeah, Paulie's been saying the same thing about Lions-Vikings today with the under. I thought same thing with Dolphins-Jets in the under.
Oh, that was like my one early stay away game. I didn't touch that game because what are you going to do? Who's going to show up for that game?
That was the total.
The total was, I thought, the only thing that you could do.
Got as low as I think I got as low as 18.5. I think in play.
Total. Is that you saw 18.5?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
18.5.
Okay. I bet it under too.
That's awesome.
But the pick six got me.
18.5. Darnold. What do you think?
3 INTs in the fourth quarter. Alone.
Were they like consecutive drives too? Right?
Pretty much, yeah. The pick six and then 2 more after that. But I'm with you on that. The teasers have been really, really good.
Really great. In play is great. Of all these rookie quarterbacks now, can you draw any conclusions halfway through the season, basically? Like, who's the guy?
It's always tough, I think, though, right?
It is.
Year one, I mean, look at, Look at Goff in his rookie year with Jeff Fisher.
We thought Derek Carr was good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
you're right. It's very difficult to even say, but I don't know that we know anything.
Did you bet Bama first half?
I did.
They got there again?
I did.
Bet Bama first half, bet Bama full game. I never bought into the LSU thing.
Good for you.
Never bought into it.
I'm proud.
Never bought into it. Yeah. But it's Bama. It's not like I deserve a blue ribbon for that.
Yeah. No, but LSU was number 3, and Kentucky was number 9, and Florida was number 11.
They ain't gonna be 3 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will they be ahead of Central Florida? I'm sure they will.
Yes, they will be. Who's on the show coming up?
Tim Fitzgerald, your guy you just had in right here, in for Chrissy, in for Vinny. Do a little guessing.
Beautiful. Have a great show.
Thank you.
We're back tomorrow. See you.